In this video, we are talking all about the Xbox 360. Oh my gosh, one of the best consoles of all time. So, is the Xbox 360 one of the best consoles of all time and the best Xbox console of all time? Let's find out why. The Xbox 360 was released in November 2005. Putting that into perspective, the PlayStation 3 was released in November 2006, and the PlayStation 3 being $499 in US dollars, we have a console with the new generation hardware playing up to 1080p, being as powerful as the PlayStation 3 and cheaper, and with multiplayer options, online options. With the PlayStation 3 being released, it actually became a bit of a dud because we have the Xbox 360 here, which was more affordable, had a greater game selection, had almost the same hardware, had multiplayer functionality, had Xbox Live, had so many great things going for it. So like I've said before, it runs games up to 1080p. Usually games run at about 720p on this console. So let's have a look at the actual console itself. So we've got the actual power button here, we've got the disk drive, we've got two inputs for the controller. We've got a wireless connection button, which we connect to the controller with, using that. At the top there, we've also got this button up here, which I don't know what that does. We've got two USB ports up here. At the back, we've got multiple different inputs. We've got the power input at the back there. We connect this giant power brick to. So this thing was absolutely massive back in the day. And this came in two different parts. So basically, we connected to that, and this thing was like, it's just like huge. It was important to produce so much power. We've also got HDMI input and output, AV output, and an in and output for like different sources, as well as a USB output for like gaming hard drives. We've also got two different ways of standing the Xbox 360. So we've got these up here, and then we've also got these down here, these pads. So you can face it down that way or up this way. Also, what I've only just realized is there is a hard drive at the top. So I basically can unplug that like that, and that is 120 gigabyte HDD right there. That's how much it holds in terms of storage, and that is also replaceable. That is the basics of the Xbox 360 console in terms of its hardware. There was also multiple types of Xbox 360s. We had the Xbox 360S, more of a slim version of the Xbox 360. We also had the Xbox 360E, which was actually released in 2013, and it had a similar sort of shape as the Xbox One console, so it was the more powerful version of the Xbox 360 version. There was also different iterations of the Xbox 360 original model, so you had the arcade version, then you had a few other developments throughout the years with software updates such as new home menus and stuff like that. So this one has the newest home menu. The original was definitely an upgrade from the original Xbox menu. With the original Xbox menu, you had this basic UI where it was more this green screen. Now we had like a lighter sort of green screen background with more animations happening and stuff like that. And we had a lot of live features such as the Xbox Gold. You had the Xbox Live features, and you had the Xbox Store feature. So all of those features were all brand new to the Xbox 360. Which is why it was so popular, I believe, because of those multiplayer functionalities. So example, I just picked up a couple of games when I went to the shops today. I picked up Modern Warfare 2. This game was one of the most notable games for the Xbox 360. So what it was notable about was the multiplayer functionality. So what people would do is play multiplayer on Modern Warfare 2, play it online, and then they would use the Xbox Live to write messages or send voice chats to each other like that. So there was a lot of multiplayer functionality going on. And I think that was the biggest thing with the Xbox 360. And because the PlayStation 2 really didn't have that multiplayer functionality as much, and the and had like an online marketplace, this was the first console to really have all those multiplayer functionalities. It was the first console to really have an online subscription service such as Xbox Gold, which really revolutionized to what it is today with the Xbox Game Pass. It also had cloud saving features, so you could actually back up your storage with online cloud storage, which was a brand new feature. And it also had brand new features such as Xbox Connect. It was sort of like the Nintendo Wii, how you would have like the camera feature and that would sort of interact with you, such as that, like party games. Also, things that I noticed, so straight away when I put in Call of Duty, it's as simple as just putting in the disc and it would run straight away. We didn't have to install the game. We didn't have to wait like half an hour to an hour to download a game and stuff like that. It would just run straight away. And that was such a great thing about this console. You didn't have to wait for things to copy over and take forever. It just sort of works straight away, which is something that I definitely miss about the retro consoles, about the 360 and stuff like that. The games would just run and play. They had basic UIs. Everything was sort of understandable. Whereas like today, we've got certain games like the brand new COD or even Marvel's Avengers, for example. We've just got so much going on with the UI menu and the different boxes where you're just like, I actually don't know what I'm choosing or picking as a beginner. I actually have no scope of what's going on. So having that basic UI and UI menus was such an advantage for these games. And that's why I love these sort of retro gaming stuff, because it was more simple to understand. Not only were the games easier to understand, but they were a bit more fun to play back in the day. And I'm wondering if that's because, not because of the technology, because the technology is a lot better these days, but it was just more of the elements of the game, like basic UIs, and everything was easy to understand and sort of straightforward gameplay, whereas things have just gotten a bit more advanced these days. And I'm wondering if that's one of the reasons why gaming isn't as fun as it used to be. Just putting it out there. Also other things, so we can talk about this controller. So the way to get it working was interesting. So we used to have this battery pack that we just put in the back there, and then that would click in, and then you can connect it wirelessly. By the way, the Xbox 360 was the first console to come with a wireless controller. You would basically press on that and then connect it right there. So there's this wireless button that would connect to that, and then you would have the ring. Now with the ring, now we all remember the famous red ring. That means your Xbox 360 has pretty much died. So the longevity of the console wasn't great because of that red ring issue as well. And there's also an overheating issue as well as internal noise issues as well. So when I was playing it, the internal fans were running quite loud. So those are some of the negatives with the consoles that, I mean, they've fixed that with the newer consoles. You know, it's a retro console. It's about, what, more than 15 years old now. So, I mean, it's not going to run perfectly. So that's just something that just comes along with it. So also with this controller, there were some pretty cool features. So we had the wireless features, and we've also got controller vibration. That was also a big thing. We don't have anything like haptic feedback or anything like that, but we also had the Xbox home menu as well. So this, if you press that, it would go to this home menu option, and you can access all the live options and stuff like that. So there was a lot of wireless connectivity. It's got a pretty great design, pretty close to almost the Xbox Series X controller. So it's amazing how, sort of putting them next to each other, how much they've evolved. So in a way, the new Xbox controller has those back grips, it's a matte black finish, a lot smoother, but it also has the very similar design. So same joysticks in terms of location, same sort of middle parts. The only difference is they sort of moved all these buttons down here, whereas they used to be up there, and there's a few more functionalities such as the screenshot option and stuff like that. But apart from that, it's very similar to how it used to be. Alright, so now let's talk about some notable games with the Xbox 360. So as I mentioned before, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. So that was one of the biggest games. Like, people back in the day of 2005 to 2010 used to love Call of Duty. That was the biggest thing with the Xbox 360. Basically, the online multiplayer options with that game was absolutely amazing, and people used to love this game specifically. I remember FaZe Clan doing a lot of trick shots with this game and stuff like that back in 2005 to 2008. There was also games like Halo, FIFA would have been big on the Xbox 360 as well with the online functionality. We've also got here Batman Arkham City. So the whole Arkham City stuff was revolutionary in terms of graphics. That was a big thing about it. Some of the games still stand up to today's graphics with how amazing it is. And one thing it boasts on the cover is it's 3D compatible. One thing I'm learning about reading from these games is they have 3D compatibility, and there's also in-game Dolby Digital. Elder Scrolls Skyrim was definitely a game for me that was probably one of the most played Xbox games of all time. This was the game for the Xbox 360. I was stoked when I got this game. So I remember getting the book and then just reading it for hours, just selecting my character and then really grinding away and creating all these amazing characters and fighting so many stories and stuff like that. And it was sort of this open world amazing game that I really loved, and it's still available to this day. They've re-released this game about 100 times since its release, so it's really one of the greatest RPGs of all time, and I can't wait for Elder Scrolls 6 to come out. We're still waiting. I mean, this game has probably come out like over 15 years ago now, which is absolutely incredible. I've also picked up Gears of War 2, which was an Xbox only game. So Xbox had a lot of really great exclusives such as Gears of War and Halo. So one thing that people loved about the Xbox 360 was its shooters. We also had Forza. How could I forget about Forza? But anyway, we had so many amazing exclusives. So overall, what I heard was originally the Xbox 360 started with about 200 titles, and by the end of its cycle, it ended with about 400 games, which is absolutely incredible. So we had so much selection of games that, you know, there was so much to choose from, and there was almost a game for everybody in that collection. And I think that's why it became such a popular game. So the main things with the Xbox 360, which makes it the greatest Xbox of all time, was the multiplayer functionality, the online features, the games. The game selection was absolutely amazing, and it had the next gen graphics and its affordability during the time. So those are some of the main things as to why the Xbox 360 was the greatest Xbox that has ever been released. Hope you enjoyed this video, hope it was educational, and I'll see you guys next time.